Hey there, and welcome to the Learn in Lebanon podcast. I'm your host and City of Lebanon intern, Lauren Argate. In this podcast series, we explore the educational opportunities offered by the Lebanon Community School Corporation. Today, I am joined by 3 Lebanon FFA chapter officers. We have Owen Bigler, Addison Hand, and Breanna Stratton as our special guests. We'll be learning more about the National FFA organization and their experiences within the Blue Jacket. These seniors are preparing for the 97th National FFA Convention, which is right around the corner. Let's talk about what it looks like from behind the scenes as streets of Indy fill with corduroy blue FFA jackets. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. I'm going to have you first just introduce yourselves to the listeners and tell me a little bit more about your FFA experience.
I am Owen Bigler. I am a senior. I like to play sports. I'm a very athletic person. I am the sentinel on our officer team for FFA. I am also in student council. I run my own business here in town, and it's starting to boom up, so I like that.
I'm Bree. I'm our chapter vice president, and I'm also in numerous clubs. I play soccer as well. This is my last year, which is kind of sad. I've been playing since I was like 4. I work at Fun Days, which is an ice cream shop in Whitestown, and I'm a senior as well. So my plans for next year are to go to Purdue University and major in agriculture communications.
My name is Addie, and I'm our chapter secretary. I'm also a senior. My future plans include hopefully Purdue and double majoring in dietetics and exercise science. I work at Thorntown Pizza King, which my grandparents own, so that's been really nice for me. I'm in FFA, and I'm also in student and class councils, NHS, and I'm a very involved member in clubs and our school.
So we're very involved in FFA, all of us, and you all are very involved in the community, just in general. But what's your experience in FFA, and what inspired you to get involved?
So I am a new member, 2 years. Last year, I wasn't as involved, but I really do know someone on the officer team. Breanna Stratton, right here to my left, is my girlfriend. We've been dating for 2 years. But other than her, Miss Rudolph, our new ag teacher, really brought me into it and just got me interested in the events and being on the officer team this year.
Also, an ag teacher that got me influenced in FFA was Mrs. Everett. She's no longer a teacher at our high school, but she kind of gave me like an awakening, is what everybody in our chapter calls it. She volunteered me for a competition. I believe it was my freshman year, and that kind of like kickstarted my love for FFA and just really being devoted in agriculture. So my time has been really amazing. We've had a lot of switches, but it's been really accommodating that everybody's been nice and welcoming.
I'm a 5-year FFA member. I joined in 8th grade because of Mrs. Bradway. The story that I like to tell is in 8th grade, this is like the first year that people at Lebanon are introduced to agriculture and FFA, just like with the eligibility of classes. And she always pitches FFA to every class period, and she shows the FFA creed, and she recites it just to almost show everyone sort of what FFA is about. And I wanted to impress her, so I went home and I memorized the creed that day. And then I came into school the next day with the creed memorized. And then I, like Bree, I was also volunteered into that competition because I already had it memorized. And then just from there, I just grew in my FFA journey.
Addie, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's like a 5-6 paragraph thing that you memorize?
5 paragraphs. Yeah, you memorize in one day, and then you answer a bunch of questions about it.
Overachiever, am I right?
So obviously we've all competed in different contests, some the same, being the food science team.
First and state dogs.
But what's everyone's favorite contest?
So last year was actually my first year doing contests. I did the 2 of them with these people at the table right here. But my favorite contest got to be the food science one we did last year. I didn't do very good on the test part, but we never studied, so that's not my fault.
Ever, we never studied.
I had a perfect score on the taste testing part, which...
That's not surprising.
That's what I'm here for, so that was definitely my favorite one.
My favorite competition is, of course, ag communications. Me and Lauren were on a team, I believe it was our freshman and sophomore year.
Yep.
And then we competed in nationals our junior year. So it was really unfortunate because another school beat us our first year. But we came back and we did really good. So that's my favorite competition. And it's obviously the thing that kind of pushed me to want to do ag communications for my future career. But a close second is definitely food science. Every single year, I think we've competed in it without any studying.
made it
In
to state
our
every
first year, we placed 4th, and then the last 2 years we placed 2nd. So I don't know how that happened with no studying, but we managed. And this year is definitely the year to go on to nationals. So
We're studying.
we've already like manifested it too. Like we're all in our ALS food science class, and our like group name is First and State Dogs. So yeah.
Now, Bree, isn't AgCom also the contest that kickstarted your FFA career, or was that a different one?
It kind of did, yeah. I will say that's the one that I got voluntold for, was AgCom. But I also got voluntold for food science. That's why they're really close. But AgCom did kickstart my FFA career, I guess, and my future career, I guess, too. But it's just something that has really been passionate for me. And the reason I realized that I wanted to do it for my future is because once you move on to nationals, you're like known as like, you're just like superior at it. Like you can't compete in it afterwards. So I was really sad that I couldn't compete in it anymore. And I was like, I definitely want to like do this for the rest of my life.
Addie, I know the first time you competed in food science, it was like you have 12 minutes to study before you walk into the test room.
It's a team of 4, and 2 of our people dropped out the night before. Well, one of our people dropped out the night before. One person just didn't show up. And so, it was Lauren's competition. Her competition conflicted with, that's why she couldn't.
She didn't. I was like, I was like, get me out,
yeah,
get me out.
She didn't drop out. Her competition conflicted. So I got thrown into it the night before at like 10 p.m. I got a text from Mrs. Everett, and it was like, here's a bunch of Quizlets, please study, we have the bus ride tomorrow, you're competing. And I was like, okay. So I would say food science still is my favorite competition that I still compete in. I just think it also ties into my future career as far as like building the nutrition label and stuff. Like I've been the one to do that every year. Like we kind of divide and conquer, and I get the nutrition label. And so that's like one of my biggest interests. So I really enjoy sort of that portion of food science. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't like the like food tasting part too. Yeah. Especially when you've been competing all day and you're starving. Like I will eat that entire cup of pretzels.
There was our first year we competed, we were there for probably like 12 hours. They didn't give us food. After we had our lunch break, the concession stands were closed, and we munched on all the food they made us taste because we were so hungry.
Do you miss those spoonfuls of ranch that they made you try?
Oh my goodness, that was terrible. I hate ranch.
Cannot not do that again.
So just going a little bit back into how FFA has impacted you and your future careers. I know you've all kind of touched on it a little bit, but do any of you want to take a deeper dive into it?
Yeah. So as I started my school year, my freshman and sophomore year, I was set on doing animal sciences, and that was pushed upon me by teachers, friends, whatever, parents, everything like that. But as I switched and really got involved in FFA, I switched to turf and grass management. And that's one, because of my business, but 2, because of the SAE project through FFA that our school no longer has. But I had to log all my hours, and it just pushed me towards turf and grass management.
So I've already touched on it a lot, but the competition, like I talked about at the last question, ag communications, that's what pushed me to realize that I wanted to do AgCom in my future, and specifically because there's so many aspects in AgCom that a lot of people don't realize. Like you could be on television, you could work for a bunch of different companies, you could do broadcasting, you could do being on a podcast. So there's just a bunch of different things. I'm personally interested in public relations. So going through a competition where it teaches you about all the skills that you'll need for a career like that, it really just like pushes members to like actually figure out what they want to do. And that's how I figured out what I wanted to do.
I agree. Coming into like high school freshman year, I thought I wanted to do something with genetics so bad because I loved the genetics portion of our biology classes. And then when I started doing it in animal science, I thought I wanted to do animal genetics. And then I realized that I didn't love it as much as I thought I did. And so I thought I might want to go into like plant genetics and figuring out, all of that. And then I talked to Mrs. Everett about it actually. And I kind of like looked at some sample stuff, and I just realized that was not what I wanted with my life. And so that was the year that I started competing in a broader range of competitions. I did just this past year I did a demo with food science, and I sort of was like figuring my life out at that point, but doing that food science demo really solidified for me that I wanted to figure out like nutrition, and that sort of developed itself into like dietetics and finding out like nutrition plans for other people and stuff like that.
I love to hear all these plans, and I absolutely it's been amazing to see you guys like kind of like grow through it. Like seeing Addie go from like plant genetics, now nutrition. When we're in the food science contest, you're like working out those nutrition labels, like you know what's up. Okay, so at National Convention, there are many opportunities that people can explore. What are your guys' favorites, from the workshops to maybe even the Megan Maroney concert if you're looking forward to that? What are you most excited for?
So on Wednesday of National Convention, we did get tickets to the Megan Maroney concert. I mean, I'm excited. I have never been to a concert before, so it's gonna be my first concert. As we start going in on Thursday, where everyone's going to National Convention as a school, I'm excited for the expo, going to all the different booths. One thing I'm not excited about, and our ag teachers are going to tell me to stop groaning about this and whining, but I don't want to go to a workshop. It takes away from my expo time, but they're forcing all of us to go to those, so I'm only saying this so that I can show them this later. But I'm also excited to see our very own Lauren talk about her, was it demo?
An agri-science.
Agri-science board in the expo. She's going to be there.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're still probably going to get that picture with the workshop facilitator, but
I know.
maybe there's an exception.
I'm just taking a picture and leaving.
Okay, moving on. I am definitely most excited for the Megan Maroney concert. Even though our ag teacher said that our spots aren't that great, I've been wanting to go to a Megan Maroney concert. I think since she came out with her first song, it's kind of ironic because for state convention, I had the choice to go to a Megan Maroney concert, but I chose state convention instead. So now it's like I get to like experience National Convention and Megan Maroney like all in one.
It's a reward.
Yeah.
For choosing
It's my reward. But I'm also excited to go to the expo. Last year was my first time going to the expo, and there's just so many different things, and it's so chaotic. And my favorite thing is going around. I don't know if they're doing it this year, but you get like little pins. They're like, I don't know what they're called, but they're like little pins that you can put on like the lanyard you get, and you have to go around and do certain things. One of them was you have to go to a workshop. So unfortunately, if we have to get the pins, I will be going to a workshop to get it. But I like collecting all of those.
I remember the little goose pen.
Yeah.
No one would give it to us.
I will be getting a goose pen this year.
Yeah,
if there is a goose pen, if Miss Everett, if you're listening to this right now, I will be getting a goose pen.
Please, goose pens, please. Addie, what about you?
Similar to like the collecting aspect, I love going to the expo hall and just getting free t-shirts. Like it's so much fun every year just hunting down the free t-shirts, and then I seriously have enough matching t-shirts with Bree and Lauren that we could probably match for an entire month from National Convention shirts.
It's really funny too, because like when you go up to booths and you're like, I really only want the t-shirt.
Yeah.
So you have to like interact with them, but then you're like, I really just want the t-shirt, guys.
Fake conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm so interested in being a welder. I with my life, please. But seriously, I did actually learn like a lot going up and talking to these companies. Like my initial goal was a free t-shirt, but talking to them was really fun. But another aspect of National Convention I love, which sometimes is actually really annoying, is finding a place to eat. But there's this one place, it's called Social Cantina, and it's right across from the convention center. Yes, and every year it's been like a tradition for us to go there, and it's usually a smaller group, and it kind of changes like who goes. But Lauren and I have been there every year together, and every year we're just like adding to our group of people that come with us, and that's one of my favorite just like traditions. Like it's non-negotiable at this point that we will go to Social Cantina for lunch. Yeah.
I think I went to Chick-fil-A.
We did. We walked like 10 minutes to go to Chick-fil-A last year, and the line was so long. Yeah. It was so long. Places like Social Cantina, it's just like people would not go there rather than Chick-fil-A because they don't know what it is, but once you go, it's so good.
I mean, like last year, we just like sat on the ground for like 2 hours and like waited.
Yeah.
It's like
usually they're pretty fast, but last year it was pretty bad.
Last year we sat. Everybody kept opening the door on us too because
I got hit with the door so many times. I ended up just holding it for everybody.
We're like, have a good day on the way out, but we waited for our spot. It's worth the wait.
Yeah, so it is.
After we graduate, I feel like we still should like go down there
every year.
Every year.
Not during National Convention
Every
though.
year.
It's a good
like
spot.
once a year.
You've never been.
Every
it's
year.
Good.
You
it's
have
like
to
a
go
so
this
good.
year.
And like the water, like it comes in like a glass, and you like
the water's gross.
But it's a
I
tiny
don't know
glass.
what
You
she's
get
talking
refilled like
about.
no,
20
like the
times.
whole like little aspect.
Yeah, but like the actual water itself is just
We've got
not
seated
good.
at the same table every year too.
Yep.
I've never sat in another table at Social Cantina.
So that obviously ranks pretty high on our FFA memories, sitting at Social Cantina, the memories, laughs we shared. But are there any other memories within the FFA journey that you've had that you want to share?
Since I haven't been in FFA that long, I like obviously I haven't known any of these stories that they're talking about. But I think I don't have one memory, but I have just like little things like this podcast or like just doing something special with a group of little people, like our officer team. It's just the little things make me happy.
Waking up at 6:45 for our morning meetings. Morning meetings.
Did you have your 5 minutes of TikTok today?
I did. So when I wake up in the morning, I wake up usually 15 to 20 minutes before I have to leave the house. I get 5-minute shower, 5-minute clothes, and then 5-minute TikTok. And one morning, our first 6:45 meeting, I woke up at 6:30. So I didn't get my 5-minute TikTok, but I did make it to the school by 6:45.
Bad
so
mood the entire day
good.
because of no
Entire day.
5-minute TikTok.
Yeah. Okay, my favorite memory again. I don't have. There's so many memories that you make in FFA that like I can't pinpoint one, but like from the past state convention, I guess I'll talk about because it was really funny. There's one day that if we go to the Hoosier degree session, so like if one of us get a Hoosier degree, we go to Olive Garden and we eat. And there were so many of us. Like they had to put the tables together. There was just so many of us, and I get really flustered in situations like that. And the waiter, he gave us the cheese grater because there were so many of us that he obviously didn't want to go around and grate everybody's cheese on their pasta. And again, I was flustered, so I started using it, and I was like, I don't know how to use this, guys. And so I was trying to crank it, and I was cranking it the wrong way, and then it broke, and the cheese, like, flew out onto the ground. And I was like, oh, my goodness. And so the waiter had to come back, and we were like, can we have another block of cheese, please? And I'm sure he was thinking, like, how did you guys go through that much cheese? Little did he know, it was just on the ground behind my chair. But I got banned after that from using the cheese grater. Like, my advisors, like, I was a 5-year-old having
We grated the cheese for her.
on my pasta. So, yeah.
This is not my favorite memory, but just from that same day, our advisor, who claimed to have pregnancy brain, slammed on her brakes at a red light and threw me and one of our other officers into the seat. Everybody got coffee spilled on them. It's a funny
really,
story.
And she didn't even stop at the light. She was halfway in
did
between
it.
them.
She was halfway through the intersection.
And she reversed back in the middle of the intersection.
Like, I would have just kept going. I'm sure everybody was looking at us, but...
Miss Bradway, we know you're talking about.
Yeah, and we were in a minibus, so, like, when you back up, there's a noise. It was a loud siren.
We got major whiplash.
But I would say one of my like favorite memories, kind of like they touched on, that you just make so many memories with FFA that it's really hard to pinpoint them. But some of my like favorite and most fun memories are conventions when you're up super early, you're back super late, and then the next day you do it all over again. But one of my favorite things is it's been kind of a tradition that in the past, it's been just the officer team, and then there was one time where it wasn't the officer team, it was just kind of all of our FFA girls. But we stay the night at Lauren's house on one of the days of convention, and then we all go to a convention together the next day. And one of my favorite memories was getting up at 2:30 a.m. because everyone had to shower. And you couldn't sleep through anyone else's alarm. So we didn't leave till like 4, but everyone was up at 2:30 because everyone else was showering. And yeah, it was like a whole ordeal. We went to Starbucks at like 4 a.m. before convention.
Yeah. We were major slap happy that night.
Oh yeah,
Like crazy slap happy. Like there was one girl. She was so mad. I'm pretty sure literally just at me, Addie, and Lauren because we could not go to sleep because we were laughing so much, and I think we just couldn't go to sleep because we knew we also had to wake up early. Yeah. But we were like dying laughing the entire night. Like I think even in our sleep we were laughing.
Yeah. I ended up stood up and gave the speech.
Oh yeah, so if you don't know, at state convention and also national convention, the officers for state and national do what they call a retiring address, and everyone just refers to it as an RA. And they just talk about like their experience in FFA, and they have like a big sort of message for that address. And I gave my own RA, and I just didn't know what some words meant, and I just said some things that did not make any sense at all. Everyone was so slap happy. We were crying laughter because my RA was just so good.
Yeah, those are some memories that I'll never forget. The 2 a.m. wake up calls.
Mm-hmm. After going to bed at like 1.
Them after. I feel like that's just something to leave in the past. Yeah. But
every year we gotta do it.
Every year. And Social Cantina. Looking forward to that. Yeah, but what's one goal you have this year? So obviously we're finishing up our last year, very bittersweet.
I think one goal I want to do for our FFA chapter, I want more people to be involved. Like right now we have over 100 people in FFA, and probably like at the most 40 to 50 people show up to our meetings. So I just want more people to be involved and to be interested in what we do.
An FFA goal for me as well is to get our POA done. Me and Lauren, we finished the entire thing, all of our parts, and because our officer team was a little rocky last year, it unfortunately did not get submitted. So we're trying to get it done. So far, we've done pretty good at it, and so I just want to get it done and get it submitted because there's so many things that you can earn and achieve for our chapter, and I think our chapter deserves it. A personal goal I have is obviously getting into Purdue. Me personally, I think I'm 99.9% sure I'm going to get in, but
a 4 or 5 GPA.
Okay, but because I just I predict for the worst. I'm just it's getting really antsy because I just submitted my application. I'm I want to know now what's happening.
Maybe Purdue will leave us all a little Christmas gift in case. I haven't told them yet, but we all want to go to Purdue.
Yeah. So me and Lauren are going to be in the same major, and then they're going to be in separate majors, but we always joke about how we're just going to move from LHS to Purdue and just be walking around together. We're not even going to make friends. It's just going to be us. If Lauren does not make it next year, because she'll be in state. Hopefully we'll just
State office.
President Lauren Argate.
Then nationals,
I would say one of my biggest goals this year, and it honestly ties into sort of all aspects of my life. It ties in with FFA. It's a passion project of mine. I'm tying it in with some other clubs. Is we really, really want to bring a mental health and suicide prevention 5K to LHS, sponsored majority by FFA, but bringing in other clubs as well. And obviously, mental health, I think, is something that almost every high schooler and honestly every person struggles with. And I've had some experiences in my own family with these things. And so I'm just a huge mental health advocate. And doing that 5K is not only, I think, going to bring a lot of awareness just in the high school, but I also just think it's going to bring a sense of community, especially with our FFA members. So that's one of my biggest goals this year, is getting that thing on the ground and doing it well.
I agree. I'm looking forward to that. And we started kind of digging in today, so be on the lookout for some promos or we have any help needed. Owen, you want to hop in on
I got one more goal I thought of. So one goal I want to do is I want to win state in one of the competitions we do this year as a group, whether it's food science, ag marketing, whatever it is. I want to win state, and I want our work to pay off, and I want the advisors to feel like their work paid off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I have one more goal too, but it's most likely not going to happen. It's in our dreams. So we're really close with our advisors, right? And it's going to be bittersweet to leave FFA, but also leave them behind. So we're really trying to coach them into going to get their master's at Purdue. So then it's no, they won't be our teachers anymore, but they can walk around with me, Lauren, Addie, and Owen too. So we're really trying to get them to go get their master's. But
they won't do it.
I don't think it'll happen. But it could happen in the 4 years that we are there.
It'd be so fun.
So,
Bria, you're going to win employability this year too, I heard.
Oh,
Of course she is.
Hopefully. That's also another competition. I compete in. It's a solo competition. And what it is I go through a mock interview with judges who are also the company owners, I guess. And last year I placed 4th in the state, but also last year was rocky too because of some things. So I'm hoping to go on to nationals, and even if I don't, I hope I do better than what I did last year because, again, there were some things that happened in conflicts, and I felt like I wasn't as prepared as I could have been, so I'm hoping that I do better this year and I get a lot of practice in because it's a solo thing, so it's literally you and just a panel of judges, so I'm hoping I do better.
You're going to do so good. I just know it. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great final year. But before we close up this podcast, does anyone have any lasting statements? Anything they just
I got 2 little things.
Let's hear it.
So I have 2 shout outs. One shout out. I want to shout out to Mr. LePage for this interview and this podcast for hosting us. And I also want to shout out all of our advisors. And they're great people, great teachers. And they're going to do great things in life.
Yeah. Listen to their podcast as well. There's some great people. They're adjusting to a lot of changes, just like we are, if not more. So, yeah, shout out to them.
I don't have any have any last things.
That's okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out the Advisor podcast because it is insightful and it's a great dream team that we have here at Lebanon. So check it out and then keep looking forward to the next podcast that we have. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Learn in Lebanon podcast. We are so excited for National Convention in just a few weeks. Additionally, make sure to stay tuned for the next episode of the Learn in Lebanon podcast featuring high school intern Parker Lawson. He will talk about his academic and athletic career while also focusing on his future endeavors. Thank you so much. We hope to see you next time.